Hey guys, how we doing today?
Morning, everybody.
Joe here.
Kevin.
I am enjoying the ever-loving crap out of the season. This might be
Th-
the best season of TV
This
ever.
is an incredibly well written and executed, excuse me, like Dr.
Hiccups?
Pepper,
Yeah.
season of television.
It's
Um,
been unreal how they can just like execute each episode and how it's constantly engaging. Even the episodes that don't really like contribute much to the plot, I feel like still have some seed that really drives the
sure.
narrative
Yeah.
forward.
I've never felt like there's a throwaway episode
Exactly.
in this
Yeah.
show, and not many shows can say that. Like before this, of the TV shows that I have watched,
Mhm.
I would say the only one that really got close to never doing a throwaway episode was Breaking Bad.
Sure.
And even that had the fly episode, which is
The
kind of a
fly
throwaway
episode's the
episode.
big bottle episode, right?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it didn't advance the plot in any way or
Sure.
the character development really. It was I mean Ryan Johnson did the episode.
He did do the episode, yeah.
I mean it's a good episode, but it's also a throwaway episode. This show doesn't have them.
That's a
So
good
even-
example because it's an episode where like it doesn't really advance the plot, but you kind of need it to flesh out the characters.
Absolutely, yeah. It's
This show has
like a
episodes
state of the
like
union of where the characters are.
that.
Sure.
Exactly. Also, this season seems to be kind of like Lane centered a little bit. Like
Definitely
Lane
getting
is-
there. Like early on, it wasn't. Like we've had episodes where he vanished, but
Sure.
obviously he is on a monster part of the plot right now.
Well, we start the season with him in this sort of like disillusionment and not even disillusionment. He's like delusional about like his life with the
Right.
whole wallet situation.
The wallet thing, and then the fight he gets in with Pete because his manhood is questioned.
Just threw that one up on
Right,
YouTube
yeah.
for you guys.
It's a great episode too.
Amazing episode. Honestly, probably my favorite of the season so
Yeah,
far.
it's
not the
good.
show, but he's been having like this weird crisis, right? And apparently he's broke.
He's broke, and he is prideful, and he won't tell his wife that he's broke.
Yeah.
And which is a bad idea in general.
Yeah.
And he could have gone to one of his bosses. He could have gone to Don.
Could have gone.
I feel like to anybody.
Don cut a check for was it like $6,000 for that car?
Right. Yeah.
And then like just walked out and like
he took the car back, but he could have paid for it.
could have paid for it.
He
Roger's richer than.
yeah. He also he paid for Pete's partner fee. The reinvestment partner fee that was like $50,000.
He kind of owed Pete that one.
He did, but he does have the means.
He's capable of
right?
doing
He's
it,
capable of doing
They
it.
all are. They all can
Right.
pull together and be like, Lane, you really saved our butts with Sterling Cooper.
Yeah,
We'll help you out.
yeah. He tried to get work bonuses through a bank loan. It's like, dude, just go get your own bank
It
loan.
was like $8,000 or something like that.
He needed $8,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was going to borrow 50,000 to get bonuses out
Yeah.
to the partners.
Yeah.
But because he's the one watching the book, so he can lie and say the books have this extra $50,000.
But it's gonna blow up.
no, there is a 0% chance he doesn't get caught. He forged a check in Don's name,
Yeah.
and at the very least, I mean, you have to fire him. You have to.
Look, I wouldn't press charges to this, but if he, okay, look, if somebody just did that, I would press charges. But if they explain the situation, I'd be like, why didn't you just come to me? You're fired, but like,
yeah, you're out.
But we're not calling the police.
We'll buy you out of your partnership, but you got to go. Yeah, you can't let someone work there that does that.
But it's also like, what is he gonna do after this? You know what I mean? Because like, he can't go back to London.
he
He really burned that bridge
he'd have to go work in a advertising firm
somewhere else. Like
yeah.
Duck,
Yeah,
Yeah.
they all do it. I mean, even Paul Kinsey did it. He
briefly.
he just imploded in all the other ones
Yeah.
he worked at.
I
but
still-
he could.
Look, I couldn't sleep well last night. And I don't know why, but I was thinking about the Paul Kinsey character. I'm like, that's such a sad arc. you know?
Terribly sad arc. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I didn't like Paul as a person on
Yeah.
the show, and kind of like I don't really like Harry
Yeah,
like as a person.
sure.
Although in that last episode, I felt a little more sympathy for both of them.
It's like the showrunners being like, you don't like this guy? Shame on you.
Yeah, right. we're gonna make you feel things.
Yeah.
And they did. For me, the big takeaway from last episode, and when we talked about this at the end of it, was that Dawn, whose personal life and professional life are kind of crumbling.
Yeah.
Looks like he may have at least fixed the professional life part, and at least I'm going to start focusing on my job at the end, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he's successful, maybe he's not, but I feel like he's going to do what he's always done a little bit, in that he's always focused on work when his personal life dies.
Yeah.
We've seen that all the time throughout.
I'm saying we're going to stay through
Yeah,
weekends.
we're gonna say through weekends, through holidays,
yeah.
and we're working Christmas, but we're gonna get the car.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's a lot better than Pete calling him out for not staying past 5 o'clock at work any night.
Yeah.
Because Don's really been checked out this whole season.
Well, quickly, I do want to touch on this because we got to get going. I do think that Don has been way more gracious with his spouse this season
Yeah.
to Megan, but at the same time, it comes at a cost, right? He's not cheating on her, but he's treating her poorly. He's absent. He's not really there. He's
He's
also
very inconsiderate of her
inconsiderate,
feelings.
very mean.
I mean, he was terrible last episode to her.
He was.
He went out drinking with Joan.
He was.
It didn't even bother checking in with her.
And you know, it's yeah, he's not cheating on her.
He is a bad husband.
I think he was. Well, I can't say he was nicer to Betty because he was still pretty bad to her too. But like he's
Well, he put on the show because he was sleeping around all the time.
Exactly. So, like I said, it comes
There's
to
a
the cost.
compensation thing.
And
yeah.
also, I did like his moment with Joan. I liked it when he took her out.
It was great.
It was a very gracious thing to do to her. And in many ways, she is just like him in the sense that she's able to separate the two.
Yeah, but a 90-second phone call home to say I'm going to go do
anything.
This.
He wanted.
He wasn't taking her feelings into consideration at all.
He's still living in Bettyland, where he's just like, I'll be home when I'm home.
Yeah, see if I see you.
Exactly.
And Megan's not that person.
And
Megan's trying to have a relationship with him.
He doesn't have to hop on a train to like get back home. He's literally there in the city with her. And so
no, he was terrible.
He's not making the effort there, but he's going to start making the effort at the office.
I don't think his marriage works out, and I don't think it's Megan's fault.
Well, also, real quick, in the last episode I edited, the fight episode, he wants a baby with her. Remember, he's like, let's have a baby. It could end that way.
It could. But I don't
mess.
know. It'd be a huge mess because how many exes with kids does Don really need in his life? All right, we do want to go ahead and welcome Patrick Anthony and Aaron Dusa to our Patreon group. Thanks so much, guys. We're very happy you're here with us.
Yes, we are. And if you guys are watching us on YouTube for the first time, welcome to our channel. If you'd mind hit the like button for us, please leave us a comment down below and hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on the new content we have coming your way.
Yeah, if you'd like to see a full-length reaction to this and everything else we've watched or are watching, please check out a link in the description below to our Patreon page. Over there, we're at least 4 episodes ahead on every show from where we are at YouTube. So if you get into the end of this on YouTube and want to keep going, that's the way to do it. Mm-hmm. You will have to sync and watch along on your own device's streaming service for copyright purposes. You're only going to see and hear us.
Yes.
We're also watching 30 Row because of Patreon exclusive. All right, sorry guys, we talked too long there. Again, we're going to get started here on episode 11. We're almost at the end of the season.
Yeah.
In 3, 2, 1.
You'll love it when you're in it.
Are we just spitting up lines now?
Yeah.
Well, you got to brainstorm somewhere.
Yeah.
Mr. Sterling bought lobster from the Palm. Doesn't that sound good?
That bunch of high lifes.
Yeah.
That looks awesome.
Yeah. I've never worked at a place that does something like this.
Yeah. Trays in a big iced bucket of Miller High Life.
Peggy feeling left out there.
Yeah.
The other day when we were all touring your offices.
It's like a villain.
He does.
She's one of these free spirits, open to ideas.
Is he asking what I think he's asking?
Would both welcome the opportunity to spend a night together.
Whoa!
All I'm saying is if it happens, it would make me happy. If it doesn't, well, no guarantees in life, right?
Yeah, this guy can go screw.
Oh, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
So that was it. The pitch is, give me a night with Joan, or you don't get my business.
That's illegal.
These two better not go back and say anything to Joan.
He is.
Nothing.
I hate Pete so much right now.
I got some bad news last night, and I was hoping you'd help me deliver it.
Oh, he's being so underhanded with this.
What does he want?
You?
Of course it's him and not Ken in here doing this.
I wonder if Ken even knows.
That he's doing this? No way.
You're unbelievable.
Yes, thank you. Call him out on it.
I don't think you could afford it.
Thank you, Joan. Yeah.
In that episode, Lane did call Pete Weasley little pig.
That was like really
foreshadowing.
Yeah, foreshadowing that out.
In my opinion, if we brought her the right amount.
So you thought you'd have us in here for coffee and talk about this?
What's the problem?
Yeah, punch him again. Yeah, get punched again.
She said we couldn't afford it.
Is there anyone in the room not wanting to hit Pete right now?
This is so bad.
He's one guy and we can win it without him. End of discussion.
Yeah. Good.
Thank you, Don.
For shutting that down.
Extend our credit line. Say it's for Jaguar.
Oh. He already did.
He already did, yeah.
I approach her in the morning with something definitive.
Okay, so these guys aren't fighting it enough.
Knock off the grab ass and give me some lines, and don't try to reuse these. They do not apply.
Angry old man. Where are you going?
And he's back to the bottle. He's
gone.
He's not done spiraling.
I mean, I think he's pretty creative when he's drunk, but I mean, still.
Right.
Yeah.
Peggy, you know what? You want to go to Paris? Here.
Oh, no.
Why are you...
That's not okay.
Come on, man. She is like in your corner all the time, and you're going to be a jerk.
That was really demeaning.
Your stupid pact.
Save the fiction for your stories.
God, everyone's being awful.
Except for Ken. Ken is so nice.
Yeah, Ken is actually being
I
really
love
great.
Ken.
Yeah.
Ken is like one of the best characters in the show. Morally, anyways.
This is an episode where everyone's taken out other stuff on the wrong people.
Yeah.
Roger Sterling participated in this discussion?
Ooh.
Is Joan gonna quit?
I would.
Yeah.
Yielding a 5% stake in the company itself.
Oh, it's still gross.
Here, I thought you were trying to stop this because you have feelings for me.
He does like you.
Yeah.
I'm looking out for your interests over the company's.
So he's saying no. He's saying do it, but demand a partnership and not the money.
I guess.
It's still terrible.
disgusting.
Yeah, it's still
Like,
disgusting. Yeah.
I thought he was in there being like, "Hey, don't do it." Like,
He's saying don't do it for the money. Do it for a partnership.
Hush.
yeah. Cut to Pete with his daughter.
I know, right? Pete is such a slime ball. There's so much I like so much about him, and so many times I just can't stand him.
Every time we come around on him,
Yeah.
She just comes and goes as she pleases, huh?
he's getting an idea.
Yeah, I got it.
That's the pitch. Come and
Is
go
he
as you
working? Is
please.
he getting there? Yeah. He seems to be the one person there focused on doing the job.
Actually-
yeah.
Got callbacks. I'm supposed to go meet the playwright tomorrow.
That's fantastic.
All right, it's too good. Something's gonna happen.
Rehearsal starts in Boston in 10 days. Oh, forget it. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Boston.
There it is.
This is the way it works. Now you know.
Just keep doing whatever the hell you want.
I mean, it is the conversation they should have had.
What
But
did he
at the same
expect?
time, he can't do the. He and Peter both doing the foot down thing way too hard.
It's frustrating.
It
It's
is.
so frustrating.
Tell them I want a partnership, not silent, comprising 5% of the business.
Good for her. If she doesn't want to do it, but she's going to, it needs to be worth it.
Shake my hand.
And see, Don doesn't even know this conversation happened.
He's gonna be so mad.
He put his foot down with this and then left the room.
Yeah.
Jaguar. At last. Something beautiful you can truly own.
That's a good line. And it falls along with the mistress thing
It
too.
does.
I wanted to say was we've removed all other impediments. But you do know, no matter what else goes on, it's the creative that's going to win this.
So he's
lying
letting him
about
know. No, he's telling
he's
him
telling
right
him?
there. Yeah, he just told him that Joan's going to do it. Yeah.
It was her idea.
He looks like he's about to beat the crap out
Yeah.
of him. I was like expecting a headbutt or something
It's
for a second.
It's like, come on, Pete. You've been beat up at once at work already.
I wouldn't want it like this either.
Right.
One of the only times I'm on Don's side.
Yeah. Don is actually being, in this instance, being the decent guy right now, and he deserves credit for that.
If we don't get Jaguar, so what? Who wants to be in business with people like that?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know. I can't read this. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if it's still going to happen, if it's not going to happen.
Because it creates a desire. Because it is, by nature,
Yeah. He looks gross.
have a natural longing for this other thing.
Oh,
Juxtaposition of the car and Joan here. Yeah.
I'd sell it. I'd sell that diamond. so
Yeah,
quick.
that'd be the pawn shop by morning.
Or in the trash can. Like
Yeah.
honestly.
Why'd you tell him I was here? He's your boss.
Oh.
You should see him.
So when he came over to the house, it was already done.
Oh my god.
This is flashback.
Oh my god. Brilliant storytelling.
That was
Brilliant
I did
storytelling.
not see that coming.
That's so tragic. It's too late.
She'd
Don.
already
It was too
she'd
late.
already done it. Yeah.
Come have a drink?
Maybe later.
Don doesn't know she went through with it. I feel like it's a fair conversation, though. This wasn't a thing she was doing when they got married. So I think they need to talk about it, like really talk about what this entails.
Yeah. I mean,
He shouldn't hold her back, but she should say, "Hey, if I get this role, this is what it means. What do you think?" You know,
why does he not know that though?
right? As an adult man, he should know that.
Just answer it.
Why is she in a partners meeting? She doesn't know.
Oh,
Oh, he's gonna figure it out here. Yeah,
oh,
that sucks.
heartbreaking. I just got chills.
Great. We'll be over this afternoon to kiss the bride.
And Don can't appreciate it because he
He
knows
said it
what
wasn't
had to
even
happen.
close.
Which means they probably would have gotten it without it.
No bonuses this year. Now, next year.
And Lane is
And Lane is screwed.
growing an ulcer.
And this is all Don's thinking about as he knows what went down. What a great way to find out, though, to get it out.
I'm overwhelmed at
Yeah.
how great this show is. Like, I'm truly like almost in tears at how good the show is. Like, it's fantastic.
This is a great.
It's the best thing
This is a great episode.
that's ever been made for television ever.
Ron's having a bad day, wants to share with Peggy, and he's about to get some really bad news here too. I'm being poached. I'm leaving. That's it.
You're serious.
It wasn't easy.
Don does not like to be abandoned.
No, he does not. By somebody so close to.
Cutler, Gleason, and Shaw.
He hates
Oh.
Dad too.
Shake her hand. Is he gonna shake it?
Oh. Don is about to go on a real personal
Don't
crisis
be a
here.
stranger.
He's gonna be.
There's no way. Yeah. He's not going to call her up at Ted's and be like, "You want to go out for dinner?" or
No, he's
anything.
not. She could have got more money,
She could have.
but
I think
the
I
same
think
stuff would have
I
happened.
think it was the treatment. I think it
It
was.
the treatment.
I think it,
100%.
I think it was. She was tired of chasing Don's approval, and Ted just gave it to her.
Yeah. This is the greatest show of all time.
Yeah.
This is the best TV show I've ever seen in my life. This is amazing.
No goodbyes to anybody.
No, the old Irish goodbye.
Yeah. You smile.
And a great needle drop.
Yeah. Wow. That was quite an episode. That was the best episode of the season. For sure.
For sure, one of them. Yeah, I
Yeah.
would say it's definitely the most challenging, the hardest one to watch, and by far the darkest.
What a transition episode. With a couple episodes left in the season, like that felt like a season finale, right?
It did. It
Lot-
felt like a finale.
A lot of transitional things happened there.
Where to begin?
Well, I think
I'm a little overwhelmed right now, guys. I'm sorry. I'm at a loss for words because of how good that was and just how
the
emotionally resonant that really was.
the writing, the execution of that was perfect. Obviously, Joan, the situation with Joan. No ill will towards Joan at all. I don't fault her one bit for the decision that she made. She's a single mom that was given an opportunity, and she had the agency and control over it to make the decision, yes or
You think
no.
that she would have done it if Dawn got there first?
That's the really tough question, isn't it? If Dawn would have talked to her first, if she would have known that there was one friend in the office that said, "I don't want you to do this," because none of them did. Pete clearly wanted to
At
do
first, I thought Lane was going to, and then it just really.
I thought he
botched it.
I thought he was too, but it made it very clear. It's like, no, I want you to do it. I just want you to get paid better for it. Roger,
Thanks, yeah.
Roger and Bert never went to talk to her about it, and
Which is
say-
surprising that Roger
that
never even.
Roger, who has a kid with her,
And Bert was so gung ho about it too.
yeah. I mean, they were all dancing like.
we forget that Roger's a monster. Not Roger. That Bert's also a monster. You know?
No, he is for sure. But you got all of those guys, and all of them did lip service to like, if she doesn't want to do it, of course that's fine. But we definitely want her to do it. You know, so it was one of those things where it's like they feel okay about themselves because they didn't force her to do it, but they put her in a position where it'd been really hard to say no, which isn't far off.
And Pete,
you know,
F that guy.
yeah. Pete was super gross in this
Look,
episode.
I'm sure we're gonna have some more great Pete moments, but right now,
Right.
I just really. I'm back to not liking him again. Like I've never had a TV character where I'm so up and down on.
That's where the writing's so
Maybe
good.
Tony Soprano, but
Right.
even Tony Soprano, like when he's at his lowest, you still kind of root for him. Kind of like Don Draper.
Right. Pete is, I mean, he's written so well because he's so morally ambiguous that sometimes he's on the right side of things and you like him because he's not afraid to say so when he is, and then other times he's way on the wrong side of things.
He's a creepy little emasculated person. And
Simply because he doesn't really have a strong moral compass, even though he says he does. That's what makes it hard to like him, and that's why you vacillate on him a lot.
Yeah, I love the shot of Joan watching Peggy leave and her smiling because it's like she got away.
Yeah, she did. She got out of it.
Joan's stuck there.
Yeah, Joan
forever.
Right.
You know,
that Joan's stuck there, and it's not a healthy environment.
No. Dawn threw money in Peggy's face. As much as I wanted her to stay, and as much as I do believe that Dawn cares about her,
that was overly aggressive.
He has that's like Dawn. The reason he can't have things is because he's as destructive as he is to himself. He is as destructive to the people in his life that he loves.
Yeah,
and him throwing the money in her face was like, just listen to her.
Well, he definitely can't compartmentalize, right?
He can't.
Like when he's mad about one thing, he is petulant. He will take it out on everyone else he can take it out on. You know, he took stuff out on Megan that wasn't her fault. He took stuff out on Peggy, obviously.
All the women in his life, even the men. You know, and it's like, I sincerely believe that Don does love Peggy.
Yeah, of course he does. Yeah,
platonically, obviously, but you know, like that moment where he's holding her hand and just kissing it. Like I wanted to cry so hard. Like I wanted to cry so many times in this episode. Not because of necessarily it's so sad, but just because of like the crescendo of the writing and the storytelling and how it all culminates is one of the most powerful things I've seen on TV.
Yeah, I think, you know, we said, and we saw it here, that like we felt like Don was back on his horse professionally a little bit.
Yeah.
I think this sets up a spiral even more. I think losing Peggy out of his life, someone that even if he didn't act like it, was really important to him as a person.
And
the Jones situation. And his wife, who's telling him no and she's gonna go be an actress. It's like he's losing control over the women in his life.
And his work life.
And right. And I feel like him feeling like he has control over the women in life is really important to him.
Yeah.
And 3 different women that are pillars for him in his personal and professional life were all just like, you're not in charge of me. All 3 of them said you're not in charge of what I do in their own way.
That's a fantastic call, yeah. All 3 of them were just
right.
Like, nope.
And can you just say that the writing, the idea, that the fact that Dawn found out about Joan going through it without one word, with just her walking in on the partners meeting, him having that knowing look on his face, and the realization without us having to have any dialogue or someone spilling the beans to him about it.
It's brilliant.
Completely.
Like, for example, my favorite scene in The Godfather 2 is the hearings, right? When Clemenza, Frankie Five Angels is like in the courtroom and like the chips are down, you think, okay, Corleone's going to jail.
And his brother. Yeah.
The brother comes in and it's just a quick shot
face,
of the 3 men.
Yeah.
And then you know it's over.
Yeah.
You know that he won. And this kind of feels like that in the sense that like it's over.
Yeah.
They won, but what's the cost of that? And it's like that is it's the most brilliant it's like I'm getting overwhelmed right now because it's such a simple thing to do, but with all the context leading up to it, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, we were building to all 3 of these things, right, in Don's life, and the writing they perfectly aligned it to all happen at once. We've danced for more than a season. We've danced around the idea of Peggy leaving, right? She's flirted with the idea. Duck tried to get her to leave, right?
But he wasn't serious.
He was.
Well, but at the same time, he's not a serious person.
No, he's not. Like
Ted Shaw seems to be like the real deal.
He actually has a firm going, and Duck has a make-believe firm and a drinking problem.
Respects her for her work, not just her.
He definitely said the right things there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they timed that out really beautifully.
I don't know going forward. So I guess we're gonna have to have Peggy. We're going to see more of Shaw than I would imagine because I don't see the show not following Peggy.
Right. We're not losing Peggy. My guess is, and I could be wrong, is that Dawn and the Sterling Cooper in some way managed to destroy Ted Shaw's company, and she doesn't have a job, and she comes back. Either that, or she gets there and she finds out it's not what it's cracked up to be. She doesn't have the control she was promised. Yeah. She's being treated worse over there. Like,
I would hate that.
Maybe the other guys on the staff are going to be sexist pigs. You know what I mean? That she has to work with, their copywriters and stuff. Right. I think she's not going to, even though Don was really gross to her, he did treat her like a peer because he was awful to everybody. It wasn't, I don't feel like it was ever sexist towards Peggy at all.
No, he never was.
He was
hard on her.
He was hard on her, but he told Carrie not to sit down too in this episode.
Yeah.
And I feel like the other guys, like Stan and everybody, no one, even Stan being as clearly a sexist pig,
Yeah.
never disrespected Peggy in that way.
No.
And when he tried, she called him out on it in the hotel room thing,
Yeah.
and won, and it was over. So I'm thinking there's a really good chance that when she goes to work for Ted, the what she has built up in her head of what this new job and this new title and this fresh start's going to be isn't what it's cracked up to be, right? The grass all greener on the other side situation.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly,
And she comes back.
It really does highlight the competition between Ginsburg and Peggy because, in many ways, that was her downfall hiring Ginsburg. As much as I love Ginsburg,
lot of it,
I think he has a real, he's got a huge future here at this firm.
He's also super talented.
Exactly. Exactly. He's got it. So does Peggy.
Yeah.
So she kind of has to get out of the way to let Ginsburg shine and to let herself shine too. But at the same time, I'm enjoying Ginsburg's arc. I'm enjoying everything that character is bringing to the show and to Sterling Cooper. Like, I mean, literally, the Jaguar pitch was great. You have somebody on the table, like all these guys are oogling over,
and he's thinking about and he realizes,
and that's how we got it.
Ginsburg, look at this. Yeah, I got it. He's like, I know, there's a girl on the table.
It's Dawn-esque, maybe Dawn in his younger years. I mean, because like he could see something and really pull something out of it. You know what I mean?
That is, Ginsburg is like a younger Dawn.
Everybody is in this. We said it about Peggy. We've said it about. I mean, Joan in many ways is Dawn's mirror. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a lot of characters that mirror Don Draper, and the interesting thing is, Dawn's arc is how he's kind of escaping that.
Sure.
He's transforming. He's like having some kind of metamorphosis into something else, and it's like, what is his deal? Because like, I feel like we are getting a lot of Dawn this season.
Yeah.
He's the star of the show, but we're not getting as much of him as we used to in terms of like what he's really feeling on the inside. It really feels like something's like boiling, and it feels like something's building.
Right.
But the release has not happened yet.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been kind of when we observe externally, like a lot of the characters on the show. That's just good show not tell writing. But I think we're kind of seeing like the chinks in the armor of like this idea of moving up the ladder, which I think a lot of the shows about that, right? Everybody wants to be Dawn, and as you see Dawn, you're supposed to realize you shouldn't want to be Dawn.
No,
Peggy wants to be Dawn. Pete has always wanted to be Dawn. Ginsburg doesn't want to be Dawn. He's a better version of Dawn, but he wants the kind of professional success Dawn has.
Exactly.
And I think that the idea behind all of this is the thing that you're all trying to morph yourselves into and grow into isn't really growth. It's more money, it's more prestige, but it doesn't.
Emptiness.
It definitely doesn't make you a better person or a happier person.
Yeah.
What you're actually chasing here.
I'd say the closest we got to the inside of Dawn is the episode where he's like ill and he has to like kill that inside him.
Yeah. I agree. This season, that's been kind of it.
Really, and you're right. I kudos to the showrunners for being like, okay, Dawn's here, he's still the star, but we're really going to focus on the supporting cast.
Yeah, this is a great ensemble
We've
show.
got a ton of Lane this season, which, by the way, like I said earlier, made the joke. He's getting the stomach ulcer. He's
toast.
I don't know what's going to happen to Lane.
He's going to get caught. Like that's going to happen. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want anything bad to happen to the character, but I hope he gets caught. I mean
there's $8,000 that he's basically stolen,
and the $50,000 is just gone. Well, it's there, but like
it's gonna go. Yeah, Well, that $50,000 that was gonna be for bonuses is now gonna be used for Jaguar.
It's kind of a funny bit where he's like, Christmas bonuses. And they're like, no.
Yeah, he's not gonna be. What's basically gonna happen is he's not gonna get the bonus to pay back what he stole. So
he already said that.
So
I did not request more than I should have.
Yeah,
he's screwed.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah.
I don't know if that means more embezzling or what it's gonna take.
Someone is just gonna get, because I think back in those days checks get returned. You know what I mean? Like I know,
right?
But they send them back.
They send them back.
Yeah.
Okay,
like I know my parents used to get when I was a very little kid. Used to get like the bank the check stubs back and marked paid from the bank.
Yeah.
They don't, obviously there's no reason to do that anymore. But what's going to happen is that check's going to come back to Sterling Cooper, and Joan or somebody is going to see this weird $8,000 check paid out to Lane and go to Dawn and like, hey, your name's on this check. What did you give Lane $8,000 for? Yeah. And then he's toast.
Yeah. And real quick,
it has to.
Real quick before we sign off, because I feel like this episode warrants a long conversation.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
And hopefully you guys enjoy it, and hopefully you didn't skip this. I want to touch on the Joan thing one more time, just because I feel like this was the center of the episode.
For sure.
I understand her positioning of her being in this really crappy situation, obviously, with her awful husband, her mother living there, and her needing this security. And this form of like it's stable. I mean, she's a partner now. She's getting 5% of the business,
They made her an offer she couldn't refuse. That's the gross thing about it.
and I want to be happy for her. I do, but I'm kind of like Don in the situation where I'm just kind of mortified in the sense that like that's the most disgusting. You shouldn't sell flesh, and I'm sorry. Like, no knocking against anybody that does that, but it's like at the cost of that, it's not worth it.
No, it wasn't worth it, but I don't fault Joan a bit. Like
I
I
don't
said,
fault her for it. I
she
don't
was
fault her for
she
it.
was put in a position where she
And
couldn't say no.
The thing is, if it's her decision, and which we don't really know. I mean, she did go through with it, but like that was before Dawn came and told her like, "Hey, it's not worth it." I don't know if she would have done it. Part of me thinks maybe because it is stable and it's a great future for her and Kevin. I hate to see her
No, it's a tragedy.
degraded like that.
Yeah,
It wasn't
of
her
course.
idea in the first place. It wasn't her. It wasn't her being like,
I
"Hey,
mean-
I'm going to go do this." It was somebody else deciding that for her.
That's the thing. That's the thing that bothers me. It's
Exactly. That's what I mean by that.
right.
It's
None of that's on Joan. None of it is on Joan because it's the idea of someone says, if someone backs up the Brinks trucks to you for to do something you don't want to do,
you got to weigh out your options, I guess. But
you're going to do it. I'm sorry, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to set up your future for you for the rest of your life if you do this one thing. How does she say no to that? How does she feel about herself raising a kid on whatever her salary is, right?
Yeah.
When she had the opportunity to do this thing as a mother, as a single mother.
And honestly, for her being as independent as she is, good for her.
Yeah, I mean,
that kind of secures that she doesn't really need anybody else now.
Right. I mean, like again, it's her choice, and I'm glad she had the choice to make it or to say no to it. But I felt like they really pushed her into it by making her an offer she couldn't refuse.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's okay. And I don't think the offer was okay.
And then we have the underlying message of Don and how he feels about. I don't know if we can say it on YouTube, but the transaction that happened because his mother
it was completely yeah, that's true. Is because his mother was in the
business.
in the business. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we also saw
that's a good point
in episode 5 with him at the brothel. He didn't do a thing.
Right.
He just sat there, and it's just all very interesting. It's so well written, and honestly, this is the Godfather 2 of TV shows.
Yeah.
It's the Citizen Kane of TV shows.
That's great.
It's an amazing show, guys.
And also, just one more time before we get out of it, the 4 partners who voted yes on it are all terrible guys. Whether they feel like they did the right thing or not, they didn't. Yeah. We'll catch you in the next one, guys.